Welcome back to 12 News at 6 as we continue to follow the indictment brought against former President Donald Trump. We are joined right now in studio by Logan Elia. He is a partner at Rose Law Group. Thanks so much for coming in.
Happy to.
Logan, this, by all accounts, is a historic day for America. When you look at this, how significant, this is the third time he's been indicted, how significant are today's charges in your mind?
I think what's most significant about today's charges is the possibility that the charges can proceed relatively quickly. The interesting thing about this indictment is that it names co-conspirators, but only by number, not by identity. And this case, unlike the documents case, does not involve classified materials. And so procedurally, this could be pushed through the court system before the election, where the other cases are unlikely to be resolved before then.
Okay, so if you were arguing these charges, let's go through each one of them. We'll first start with the first, conspiracy to defraud the U.S., and the second, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding.
Sure. So in order to establish conspiracy to defraud the United States, they have to establish first a conspiracy, which is just an agreement between two people to do something. Okay. And then that to do something has to be to defraud the United States. There is a statute that's relatively broad that says anyone who agrees to defraud the United States or any of its agencies in any respect is guilty of a violation of the statute. So it's actually quite broad. The argument is that the United States has an interest in the accurate counting and administration of the voting process, and that Donald Trump and conspirators made an agreement to take action to interfere with the efficient counting of the votes and the certification of the election.
And for the prosecution, from what you could see in the indictment, what is crucial? What kind of testimony, what kind of evidence would be necessary?
The crucial piece of evidence, and I think the whole case turns on this, is whether Donald Trump knew that he lost the election. Okay. He has, and this is acknowledged in the indictment itself, a free speech right, even to go so far as to lie about whether he won the election. Okay. And he's not being indicted for that. But he is not entitled, if he knows that he lost, he's not entitled to then work with other people to nonetheless subvert the outcome of the election. Okay. So his knowledge will be the key fact.
All right, let's get back to the charges today. Obstruction of and an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding and conspiracy against rights. Of those two, which is the more damning?
Probably the obstruction of the official proceeding is the more damning. The evidence on that turns on the attempts that Trump made, especially allegedly leaning on the vice president in order to take actions to undercut the certification of the election on January 6th. The separate claim, conspiracy against rights, says that if any two people agree to conspire together to deprive United States citizens of rights that they constitutionally enjoy, then that's a crime. And the right here would be the right to vote and have your vote counted.
Do we know anything about the judge who will hear this trial? And if we do, how could that impact this trial?
We know that this judge is reputed as being relatively aggressive at sentencing. This case is unlike the documents case, where perhaps Trump has a Trump-appointed judge in a state that has more Trump voters. He's now facing a judge who has a history of harsh sentencing in situations like this in a jurisdiction that does not have a lot of Trump voters.
If you're Jack Smith and you bring charges against the former president, you better make real sure that you have all of your ducks in a row. In your mind, as a legal expert, as an attorney, does he have all of his ducks in a row on this?
I think this is a more difficult case than the documents case. I think establishing what Donald Trump knew is going to be a very difficult thing to do.
All right.
All right, Logan Elia, thanks so much for joining us in studio.
Appreciate your time.